Rift, it's time for the crowd to once again give these two excellent teams all their energy.
You can still see the crowd just as ferocious as ever.
Oh.
Calm down.
Oh, we're ready. I'll bring it on.
No, you bring it on.
Of course, the
The game has changed.
What do you got, iBoy? Ball's in your court now.
hit him with the same
Sticks
one.
to the classics,
Of course, we have emotes enabled in the LPL. We're able to throw those ones up willingly. These two AD carries were the two that started it the most. They love their white flags, so they're more than happy to throw them out against one another. Not a big surprise to see some banter between these two and some trades.
Oh, a KP and Rain for some very early damage. And SMLZ is still walking up onto iBoy, trying to play in the window, but Plasma procs and SMLZ absolutely suffers there.
Give him the Yasuo. Show him the hand.
So the difference, you'd have to say, in that 2v2, there's a lot of health as a disadvantage for SMLZ, is that he's got Kalua, who will most likely start with heal at level 1. Alistar is reliant on minions dying to get that heal passive off. So there's a chance that the Rakan and Xayah can out-sustain their respective opponents. But usually when you have a Xayah and a Rakan duo, you start W.
But it's a creep lead for EDG. They can get the early level too.
Let's see where this wave positions itself as Mako just bats Killua away. And even on the Kai'Sa Alistar, EDG still control the lane against Xayah Rakan.
I was going to say, I know all the action is on this bot lane right now, but that's the big thing, because again, this is still about flawless. They need the Galio, the Scion, and that Xayah Rakan to control their lanes, to create space for the Nocturne to have time to scale up towards level 6. So still a level 1 through 5, very large window for Edward Gaming to have control of the map, and you can see that Haro is already on the offensive.
No time warp tonic this time for Scout as well through his rune set. He's gone towards the Cosmic inside the extra CDR, and note that he did not start with the Corrupting Potion. So adaptations even in the smaller details here from the middle laner of EDG, basing it on his matchup and how he wants to play it out. He's a very smart player.
Haro's sprinting towards Nocturne right now.
Double buff. Looking like Scout's getting pulled up as well. They seem to have spotted him flawless. He sees it at the last second. The defensive control ward finds it. Spell shield, but Doinby's there to look for the save. A quick cleanse. He gets the auto and first blood. EDG Scout.
Disaster for Rogue Wars. It's only going to delay Nocturne that much more. Brilliant control ward. They scout out, they look for the Raptor trade, and immediately punished.
And it's a red buff for Scout on a ranged champion into a melee matchup in the middle lane. From bad to worse for Doinby as far as the matchup goes, and the wave is building in Scout's favor back towards his tower when Haro's got the jungle control.
And that's just a bit of miscommunication perhaps from Mouse and Flawless. It was refillable potion, double control ward for Ray in the top lane. And Flawless was close, didn't check the brush, paid the price. Already these lanes looking nice and comfy for EDG.
And the tides have turned in this bottom lane, 2v2 as well. SMLZ and Kalua have got their control. It was a Doran shield for SMLZ to the ring of iBoy, so he was always going to have a little bit more passive sustain in this matchup. Mako's going to want the trade, however.
And knockup. SMLZ's the target again. The plasma procs knock up onto Mako. Heal is ready for SMLZ, but the flash snare from the side. SMLZ still chasing him down. Flash gets him out of there. And RW don't chase the kill.
By the skin of his teeth, though. That feather just tapped him on the bottom on his way out.
Lets him get to safety, though. Mako will be fine. He was the one who also engaged that trade. Has got the Ignite. iBoy still with the flash. Two summoners rather gone from the side of Rogue Warriors, and the flash from SMLZ is the big one that you have to think about.
But here's Haro. He's just going to try and race on it. Hex flash. The target's SMLZ. Remember, he's got no flash. Haro from behind. They land the plasma. iBoy finds the kill before Haro can even get in there. Now Doinby teleporting in onto Mako. Winds of War misses, but Flawless is there to head him off. Killua gets out of this as Doinby lands a taunt, and Flawless finally gets a revenge kill. But iBoy is still attacking onto Doinby, but minion blocked. Doinby can no longer chase.
They'll clear the wave, though. They'll reset the minion wave in the bottom lane. They'll force it to crash. They'll prevent a freeze. There are still good things the Rogue Warriors are able to get out of this, but it's EDG that make the first big play happen in that lane. They're the ones who look for it, and they're the ones who get it.
I don't know if this play is going to be over yet. I think as Haro shows himself, okay, everyone's going to calm down now. Feels like things are getting a bit intense for Game 3 here.
Chaos is starting to unravel. You can see the frayed edges at the beautiful tapestry these teams are trying to weave. Because 5 minutes in, it's 1 kill to 2. Currently, EDG have got Scout and iBoy set up.
But look at the buy difference there between iBoy and SMLZ. Yes, you're still playing in a lane with sustain on both sides, the Rakan and the Alistar, but the all-in potential, which is exactly what Edward Gaming have shown their hands to do with Mako having that Alistar and having the BF sword now in the back pocket. Huge strength for Edward Gaming's bot lane.
There's actually a window of opportunity as well pre-level 6 where SMLZ can't use that ultimate to disengage. With Hex Flash up, every 20 seconds you can use it and look for these chances. Haro now going to try and find that chance, but it needs to be onto SMLZ.
They're going for... Oh, I thought he was going to go for Kahlua right up against that wall.
The Kahlua with the Xayah, of course. So much
Thinking about it, there's the delayed follow-up again. SML sees the target as Haro shows up at Flawless. Following at level 5, Mako walks through the feathers but gets snared. Flawless chasing the auto attack. Flawless gets it. 2 kills to Rogue Warriors as they counter gang.
And another great read from Flawless. Yes, he's been targeted this entire series. They've been invading his jungle, putting him down, but he is still finding opportunities and making something out of nothing, constantly counter-ganking at the right time.
Even when he dies in the enemy jungle, he still has the camp advantage. He finds the kill in the bottom lane as well. He's at the right place most of the time. And a lot of the difference has been made from Rogue Warriors in that first game by where he was in the bottom lane. It's happening again. You know that something's going to happen bottom. We just spoke towards the reasons why. And suddenly he's there to make sure that Rogue Warriors reap the benefits.
That's a 500 gold lead to Rogue Warriors. Those 2 kills onto Flawless and the experience from the kills getting him closer to level 6. If he was able to get those just by walking in, once he gets paranoia, EDG might be in even more trouble as we're starting to reach that level 6 mark.
But again, if we're talking about telegraph plays as a bit of the old trade between the potatoes and the top lane, you're going to see the Galio, you see the Nocturne. Edward Gaming know that it's going to come bottom. You're going to unlock those lanes, you're going to use the level 6. So it's been telegraphed from EDG, it's now telegraphed by Rogue Warriors, and I have a feeling that once these teleports are off timers in top lane, it's going to be an all-out brawl.
Doinby and Flawless making their way down. Blast Cone over the wall. Already, Mako sets up a defensive control ward.
If you're going to place Vision for the Nocturne, you can't place it in really shallow areas. You have to place it a bit deeper. Nocturne at level 6 can hide behind that wall and get entryway as well. The Tri-Bush ward is not safe when you're pushing. Usually you extend it a little bit further also, but Flawless is in a very good position to still find the chance. If he goes through lane, Scout looking.
He's been spotted out by a ward. Doinby could be here to collapse.
Yeah, Scout has to be really careful right now. He just now recognized about halfway through that river that if they spot him out, there's 2 members that can immediately collapse on him. He must wait for Haro before he can make that path and that route down bottom river.
A consideration here actually is that Doinby is running himself completely dry of mana by having to clear the wave with spells to be able to leave in the first place. His blue buff is not up for a little while where EDG's is. So I think Flawless may continue to try and advance here, if not for the bottom lane dive for the enemy blue buff, but that's where EDG collapsed.
Yeah, and that's also really dangerous. Like you're saying, it's not just the mana used to clear the wave, it's the mana that would prepare for this fight.
Haro finds the engage, but Flawless with the spell shield. That's the Void Seeker from iBoy. The target's killable, but they swap places. Flawless goes in, the hero's entrance. He's trying to back out of this. Low health, but Scout finds the kill. Shut down iBoy into the back line, finds killable, gets knocked up in midair. SMLZ denied the knockup for iBoy, and that's Doinby going low as SMLZ runs for the hills. EDG see the play coming a mile away. They're trying to stall it out as Mako. Can he soak the hits? He can. A double kill to iBoy and another to Haro.
And another punished force by Edward Gaming. Rogue Warriors wanted to take the blue buff, but Doinby didn't have the mana. Rusty just said it was to help control the mid lane wave, but that meant that it delayed him getting into the fight. And once he was in the fight, it was a 4v or a 3v4.
And it's not a setup that Rogue Warriors were strictly prepared for. It's something that they really wanted to achieve, but nothing more. You'll be able to see it in the replay as well, but you can also see the control wards right now on your mini-map. That's how set up EDG were for the play, and that's how easy it is for them to hit this one home strong through their engage, and how hard it is to kill their members.
Flash from Haro to reset it, but once the front line is set, once the plasma's on the back, EDG just have their pick of the litter to how they chase these kills.
And then all of the kills flowing onto the Kai'Sa, so the gold landing exactly where it needed to be.
SMLZ tries his hardest. He definitely tries to get the kills, but there's not enough damage to follow him up to get lethal on anyone. There's no execute available for them. Galio with no mana after he pressed R and taunt.
And while that play was going on, Mouse and Ray were trying to rotate down from top lane. You heard Mouse use his ultimate to race in. I believe Ray walked up and body blocked his ultimate in mid lane to prevent Mouse from collapsing on the EDG, giving SMLZ a chance to turn it.
So I've got good news for both teams. Good news for Rogue Warriors, your composition can still scale up. You're not out yet. Good news for Edward Gaming. Guess what? You thought you had a buy advantage in bot lane before. It is now massive down there, and you can continue to snowball and get ahead of the clock.
Already that's manifested itself into a Cloud Dragon and push pressure for iBoy and Mako to keep SMLZ down there. Scouts also finished off his Nashor's to only the no stacks Rod of Ages for Doinby, freshly purchased. EDG, they're ready to take another fight if they want to, but they need to start looking at what's next. Or even better, just keep the pressure up and scale on these massive Azir and Kaisa carries even more.
It's about breaking the turrets, really. They're
engaging. Whoa, they're actually going into the bottom lane. It's Rogue Warriors who don't have the patience. There's the Killer Instinct first shield, but caught, followed by Flawless, the slow, the chase, and he goes down. SMLZ finds himself another.
And pretty much off cooldown, Flawless with the ultimate goes in once again to the bottom lane. EDG were not prepared. That was a shutdown of 3 kills as well that goes into the pocket of SMLZ and pressure on the bottom lane outer.
And we have to talk about that backline reach. The fact that you're facing a Nocturne, a Galio, and a Rakan. I don't blame iBoy right there. Mako tried his hardest to keep him safe, but it's just so much distance to cover back to safety.
And though iBoy did end up dying, that equalizes the gold between those AD carries. Stormrazor's boots and double dagger for the both of them. We've got a lane swap as iBoy is headed top. Mako surely soon to follow, but Haro's on the way to set up with the Killer Instinct Plasma setup.
Yeah, it's also a potential kill. They're looking with Haro right now.
That's the knockup. They've got a CC chain. Mouse still holding onto the flash. He's running as fast as he can, but EDG just do the damage in time.
Mouse is going to try his best to clear this wave, but because there's 3 people here, he's going to die before he's able to do so. It's a cannon wave, so iBoy on this first minion wave as it crashes could get lots of damage down, but Flawless once again in the correct area, whilst a little bit late. He wouldn't have been able to help Mouse regardless.
It feels like any lead that EDG had gotten off of that blue buff collapse has almost entirely been diffused right now. The itemization has been equalized between the 2 ADCs. Flawless following the rotation towards the top side and picking up all of this experience and gold after a successful gank bottom. Rogue Warriors have successfully staunched the bleeding right now.
That buys time for SMLZ to push bottom and answer the damage that iBoy did up top. It's not going to result in any turrets yet before the lanes finally stabilize a bit, but that means that our top laners have to hold the fort against duos. Meanwhile, the neutral objective is still up. That Rift Herald,
yeah, it still belongs to them. And remember that EDG also got the Drake. So as far as neutrals go,
Paranoia.
EDG are starting it off with Rogue Warriors. They've got the combo. Doinby is in the area.
That's a teleport. I'm not sure if Rogue Warriors want this. SMLZ's nowhere near the pit. Ray completes it, but the Rift Herald is picked up. Rogue Warriors just back it off.
Numbers advantage for Edward Gaming, making the rotation, and as you called it, Dom, it's simply the numbers advantage. But now, can Rogue Warriors just time this tower fall with the top tower that EDG have now put a bullseye around?
Yeah, the first time in this series, both AD carries haven't gone towards the teleport as well. They wanted to control that lane. Zaya Rakan makes sense that both of them would consider that. And through that, they have got the map advantage. Nice cancel.
That's the Paranoia up top. Flawless is chasing onto iBoy again, but because of that cancel, that means Mako has no headbutt. He's still getting good damage onto Flawless, who's forced to turn him back away from iBoy, but Doinby has found Scout. Big damage as they're trading, but once the cooldowns are gone, Doinby needs to turn and run. Killua looks to get in, but he goes to the save. Manages to get Scout in midair. The Emperor's Divide sends Killua out of the fight with the save. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Ray solo kills SMLZ. 10 solo deaths to the AD carry of Rogue Warriors.
SMLZ now 1 and 3, sitting in this bottom lane, not helping the rest of his team. Kalua's an absolute angel, tries to save Doinby in the worst situation and manages to pull that miracle out, but the cost is still so high.
And where the bleeding had been stopped by Rogue Warriors, Edward Gaming now rip it open, a fresh wound as they win across the map. Because Ray was able to take down SMLZ, it means that there's no tower trade, so they now get the objective and the open map.
First brick onto iBoy at 3-1-2 as we see how that plays out. There was a scuttle crab in the river that SMLZ took himself.
He just gets bodied.
And Ray just uses his buttons. Good attempted dodge, but can't outwalk the Ornn.
I mean, that's what an Ornn will do to you with Ninja Tabi and an Iceborne Gauntlet complete.
Yeah.
But if he gets an auto attack down, if he gets a piece of crowd control down, the rest is soon to follow. No way out.
Especially once you apply Brittle, that just makes it even more difficult. As Rift Herald summoned in the mid lane, EDG, no rest for the weary, continue to run the tempo up against Rogue Warriors, and nobody's there to defend this. Dornby just completed a recall for Seekers, but the Herald charges and they take a mid-tier 1.
Rogue Warriors completely out of position is an understatement as Shelly's going to get 2 charges. And the fact of the matter is that this Paranoia Heroes entrance combo has not paid off for the first 15 minutes of this game. And until they connect on that combo, Rogue Warriors are just going to get run over by EDG.
Now SMLZ is finally grouped with his team, but EDG are already moving on to the next objective. They've got their list, and they have absolutely checked it twice. Mid, Rift Herald, Dragon, top turret. It's just on and on as they're taking objective after objective and now find themselves 3,500 gold ahead. And a lot of that is on those big damage dealers, Haro, Scout, and iBoy.
And iBoy, I think, also just leveled up to 9, so got access to the Evolve.
KT and Rain. Yep.
Feeling a little bit better for himself as well. Here we go once again.
They're looking for the play. That's the combo. Haro's over the wall. Dornby can't quite follow. They've managed to catch up to Scout. The Emperor's defied. Flash from Flawless. Scout uses his own. Mako with the save. They turn on to Flawless. He's forced to use the stopwatch. Scout still doing damage. Looking for the final kill. Comet doesn't connect. And Flawless gets the chance to walk away, but that was 4 versus 3, and still EDG nearly turned it.
And Scout is too clean right now, and Flawless is too desperate, because meanwhile, Ray has gotten full access to this tower. Again, because this entire series has been tank versus tank, it's more about the team fights than necessarily the 1-4 or the 1-3-1, but there are starting to be breaking points.
And at first glance, you see the flash by Flawless, and you're thinking, what on earth is he considering? But it was a bait with the stopwatch, trying to bring the rest of EDG forwards again. Maybe they think they can get the kill. He was very close to going down. It was a very risky decision for him to make, and it doesn't pay off in the end for him as the stopwatch now just gone.
And you know what's interesting is that when you look at Rogue Warriors, they're kind of live fast, die young, because when they win very quickly, and when they lose, they actually have the fastest average loss time of any of the teams in the LPL. So they don't sit around and try to stall out a lot of games. If they're on the back foot, they're going to constantly look for these plays because they'd rather be aggressive and proactive to get back into the game than just passively watch themselves lose.
And I wouldn't say this is a composition where you want to be passive with a deficit either. You want to be finding those picks, maybe get the team fights, if possible, for yourself. Something that Rogue Warriors know all too well.
This may be a team that doesn't know fear, but they might have to learn some restraint because right now EDG are just massively ahead. If Rogue Warriors try to force a fight, it could backfire. And with only 2.5 minutes before that Baron, Edward Gaming are starting to control more and more of the map as they break the last outer.
But I will say as a consideration for the next fight, if it happens shortly, items aren't that different between both of these teams. There is a gold lead for EDG for certain, but that hasn't translated into a full item, a completed item advantage just yet.
For me, it's about the execution of the team fight, because I do agree if it was front to back. But right now, Rogue Warriors comp, it's about assassinating that backline. And because of where Nocturne is, sitting on a chain vest as well as just his jungle item, I just don't think Rogue Warriors are in a position to fight. You need a couple more key items on that Nocturne before they're confident in making those plays again.
Then he starts to look at the people whom he would even try to kill, as Scout's still sitting on stopwatch. He's got his cleanse back up. He may not have flash, but he can buy tons of time. iBoy has got Mako protecting him on that Alistar, one of his best and most famous champions. That's the spell shield. Flawless still gets knocked up as Ray is just chasing it down. Scout looks to follow, but there's no longer a flash, and Ray gets the kill with Scout. EDG find an opening.
Yeah, absolute confidence from Ray. He knew that Scout would get there. All of the crowd control that anyone can put down. EDG, they get the kill, they get momentum. They're sieging in mid.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors, again, still out of position. Look where Sion is. Look where Galio is. And they don't have a 5th member. There's no way they can engage on this or look for a flank. It'd be absolute suicide.
This is no longer an even control of the map kind of game. That Nocturne needs people with him if he wants to try and clear out the vision of EDG. 50 seconds for the Baron, but mid-tier 2 is already down, and that gold lead has blossomed 6,000.
I mean, outside of Rift Rivals, we've never seen proof that Rogue Warriors have that 6th gear, that when push comes to shove in a high-pressure situation, that they can put their foot on the gas and make it count. Constantly, they've fallen down in playoffs. They've never quite made it to that big main stage, and it looks to be an unfortunate demise for them in this 3rd game of the series. Still a lot left to play. Every series has gone to 5 games, but it looks like they're running out of gas.
I mean, even when we saw Doinby coming onto the stage, we were juxtaposing how he looks serious, how he looks like this is all business. Even during the regular season, he would laugh and smile during every single game, but I've seen nary a grin on this guy's face.
And then on the other side, it's the machine of Edward Gaming. It doesn't matter who's on that roster because they prove time and time again that they do have that 6th gear. That form is temporary, but class is forever.
The item spikes are on the board here for EDG, so that 6k gold lead you mentioned has ballooned and is now noticeable on the map. The Baron is up now at 20 minutes in the game, and Azir could definitely consider it with a Kai'Sa. They've got a lot of damage in their composition. But EDG, the first time they got a lead, they didn't look at the Baron straight away. They looked towards getting control of the map, the kills, the towers, before anything else. Baron was a next best thing if they couldn't find those. And this lead is great enough that they can consider that again.
They're already setting up a trap top. There are pings onto the top tier 2 turret, which Doinby is currently holding, but already EDG have got immaculate vision around the pit. Rogue Warriors try to reclaim control over mid lane, but that Ornn provides the engage. Flash knockup, Flawless uses it. He takes to the skies, but Kilo is split. Ray looks to go back in. SML sees the target, they turn it around. Scout on the side, but he's got the stopwatch. Mako looks for the save. Hero's entrance delayed. He flashes. He's got the cooldown. He resets front to back. Taunt onto 2 as Doinby finds it. They manage to find 1. Mako running as best he can, but SMLZ finds the feathers. Rogue Warriors find the fight.
And fill up the tank because they're heading straight to the Baron. A god tier play by Scout, but it's not enough. Now Azir and Haro are still alive as well as iBoy, so EDG might be able to mount a front.
EDG, they know they've got the vision. They have to step up. They can't just cede the Baron. There's a lot of damage from Rogue Warriors. They're coming in. It's Haro. The smite is still there.
Vision over the wall. iBoy dodging back as best he can, but Scout gets caught over the wall, burning down, and iBoy split 2. Rogue Warriors, they just use it as a ruse. They use it as a trap, and the EDG fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Edward Gaming had complete control of that Baron pit. They were looking to kill Rogue Warriors and take this game, and suddenly everything has been torn apart. Haro needs to make a miracle here.
Ray's coming in with a teleport as well. They still want to go for this. It's going to take so long to get the Baron down. Rogue Warriors, they may turn again, but look at their health bars. They're so low.
Mako's there. It's down to 4,000 health. Taunt lands onto Mako. He has no ultimate. They just burn through his health. Ray still trying to absorb it. Haro goes forward. He gets the crescent sweep, but that's the paranoia. They dive in. He's still buying time. Ray is still alive as Baron nearly finishes it off. Flawless dies to Ray. The blade color and EDG are turning it. Haro is going hero. He's turning it around, and finally 4 kills for EDG, a triple for Haro.
And we almost come up with a double ace. There's been like 10 kills plus in this trade overall as well. Ray, huge. Haro, when it matters the most, does come in and make the play. Baron stays alive. But we're down to 4,000, even less now. Rogue Warriors, they're back in the game.
Yeah, throw it all out. Rogue Warriors, they've got the fire. It's been reignited. Full steam ahead. I cannot believe they won this fight. The amount of repositions and defensive ultimates that they had to use just to be absorbed by the Ornn. And then you're thinking, there's no way Rogue Warriors do it. They find Scout. He's out of position, but Scout plays this amazing, flashes to the other side, and somehow they still come up with it.
Yeah, they run out of ultimate on Mako. They run out of health on the tanks, and in a front-to-back style, which is surprising to say, as you mentioned those ultimates, it does go in favor of Rogue Warriors. And now we get the 1.5 minutes of Baron bait and team fight.
Just the amount of individual performers in this extended fight was absurd. You could look at any key member and something amazing is happening.
Yeah, iBoy does step up a little bit too far there and is caught in the taunt by Galio, and that's where it really does hurt them. You see the follow-up here, Ray and Haro are the 2 MVPs, but this Baron has also done a significant amount of damage to the Rogue Warriors' health bars. Mako is just a sacrificial cow in this case.
Again, the fact that it takes them so long to do the Baron.
And here we see Haro go back in, lands the sweep. 2 versus 5. And manages to find a way in. Flawless goes down. He sees low health, finds Killua, and gets the final turn onto SMLZ.
He was so lucky to get SMLZ. A small amount of time left, a millisecond. He could have done it.
But look at the gold reward as a result of that Trinity Force now completed on Haro. He's sitting on that stopwatch, whereas the Guardian Angel finished for Flawless. Zanya's has been completed for Doinby, and we're still seeing 2 items for EDG's Scout. And let's see if the fan vote is also supporting Haro after that. Nope, still on Mako for that Alistar. Of course, he is the captain.
Throw him a bone! That was crazy! And now he's got the Trinity Force so he can actually step up and be a carry. Because something about EDG's composition is that they have threats pretty much from every angle. And now that Xin Zhao picked up the triple kill, it's not enough just to grab hold of Kai'Sa as well as Scout.
Vision control does belong to Rogue Warriors currently around the Baron, and that's a big deal for them, where before they were struggling to get wards down, they were struggling to get any semblance of control on the map. EDG, they were snowballing. This time you can see their posturing, it's much more defensive, it's respectful. They know that the gold lead has shrunk, and because they can't see the definitive gold values, it may feel to EDG like Rogue Warriors are closer to even than it actually is.
And so, for so many times, I feel that Edward Gaming almost are a bit too controlled, a bit too respectful. They've slowed down a lot of their game times. They tend to stall out when it comes to the mid-game, and I'm curious if a beating like that is going to make them think twice about another forced Baron play.
Rogue Warriors need to have the fire if they want to compete. They need to reignite their passion on stage. And it looks like the embers, they're there, but it needs to be coaxed into something larger if they want to bring down the machine, bring down Edward Gaming. They finally get their first turret of the game, but as we get to the 25-minute mark, you can see how everyone is just waiting for those core cooldowns to come back up, the summoner spells, those core item buys, before we look towards that next fight. Because as we said in Champion Select, that's what we're looking at for these 10 champions.
Absolutely. Summoner spells is a big thing that you mentioned. Haro not having flash will hurt him getting access. If he goes too deep, he is just caught and dead to rights. So a lot of respect does need to be shown. Rogue Warriors right now, actually when you look at the gold distribution across the board, the only person missing it is Doinby in the middle lane. But because he's a Galio, they're actually doing pretty well for themselves.
And for me, it's just going to come down to execution about how these team fight works. Again, guided missile comp from Rogue Warriors. It's about access into the backline and blowing people up instantly. You're looking for Scout, you're looking for iBoy. As opposed to Edward Gaming, if they ever get a fight that's front to back, if they ever get a fight around a choke point with both the zone control of Xin Zhao, Ornn, and Azir, they will absolutely destroy Rogue Warriors. I just think that EDG's composition is theoretically easier to execute on because you don't have to worry about as many flanks. It's just about running into your opponent. That said, Rogue Warriors made it work last time.
They did it once, yeah. EDG have the luxury of choice. They can choose to use this composition for engage or disengage. A good ward in front of that tier 1 spots out the exact same fight bait from EDG. That means Mouse can continue to split push on the side. This time he's not there with his team right away, but he does have teleport.
I mean, the other big thing here is that the Zhonya's is on for Scout. And the Nocturne can't assassinate him straight away. It requires multiple pieces of effort. And through that, iBoy then becomes the primary target, but Mako standing next to him. It's so hard now for Rogue Warriors to use their composition's base strengths to kill someone immediately. They almost have to outplay in the engage. Killer was the one that I'd look at.
Yep.
On that recon, priority picked for a reason. First round, blue side, Rogue Warriors put their faith in the support. The youngest player on this team.
Rookie might be caught.
Currently, he's looking to recall with SMLZ, but he's on top of a ward by EDG. And they reclaim control over the Baron pit once again, but Mouse, he's using that 1-4. He's trying to find an opening to pull EDG apart.
Yeah, we're just watching the seesaw right now as our top laners take turns about who's going to grab that bottom wave. Okay, Zion, Ornn, it's your turn now as he walks back, and in these windows, that's when the teams start to hunt. So I like the recognition from Edward Gaming. They say Ray's got to take care of the bottom wave. That means we're going to take our backs right now.
And one thing we haven't considered is the Galio being able to go into a side lane. When you actually look at the lane assignments from EDG, it's Kaiser going top. Kaiser clearing waves, which means Azir is mid. Of course, Azir doesn't want to be in the side wave, needs to be grouped up with the roster. And that's an advantage that Rogue Warriors can find themselves with, going later and later into this game, being in the 1-3-1, and maybe forcing someone from EDG to that lane or using it to get turrets, because AP Galio can still rock objectives.
I completely agree with you, and I think they need to do so even more so because it's around the Baron. Again, that area is just so good for Edward Gaming's composition if they can lure Rogue Warriors around those choke points. So split open the map, pull them out of the bunker that they want to sit in, and try to make these picks.
This mid lane outer also standing is very rough for Rogue Warriors to deal with. EDG just gets so much free control around the middle of the map, and as such, the Dragon and the Baron.
Yeah, this is Rogue Warriors trying to control the river, but the moment that recall is finished, that means they're off the map, and EDG find the opening to step up and reclaim control over this bottom river. Now, Last Whisper has been finished along with the Infinity Edge for SMLZ. Dragon's already at 2,000 health. That's the paranoia from Flawless. He needs somebody that he can see, though. They found Haro on the side. They get the CC and knockup before he can even ult or flash. The jungler of EDG is dead.
But they did throw everything in the kitchen sink, so a lot of key ultimates down. I don't think they're going to try to force the Baron because they are missing a lot of that battle power. EDG could go in.
That's the call of the Forge God. Knock up onto Killua. He's the primary engage. He's still got Flash, Grand Entrance, but no quickness.
Yeah, the correct decision from Ray for certain. You use the ultimate. You don't hard force the engage. You see if you catch someone out. You do have the massive ultimate advantage. And throwing one away like that, which is just, you know, testing the water, seeing if you can find something, is very viable for EDG. And if nothing else, holds the turret, exactly what they want.
Yeah, in the end, they got the Infernal Dragon, and all they did was trade their jungler's life. So still a win for Edward Gaming.
Especially now that that's double Infernal for EDG on a very high damage composition. The Azir, Kai'Sa, and Xin Zhao. Now, despite that, Rogue Warriors get the chance to reset the map and reclaim control of vision around that Baron pit. So we're still looking at that next fight. We're still looking at the big 4-item, 5-item power spikes. Are they still power spikes at that point, or do we consider them just strengths when we're 35 minutes into the game?
I mean, there's not a huge gold difference between them. I think the word of this series is always going to be coming down to execution. Yep. It's going to be about team fights, what your composition does, how it's supposed to execute in team fights, and for me, individual performers, specifically SMLZ. iBoy and SMLZ are vastly different about how they play around team fights. Edward Gaming almost have to bend over backwards to keep iBoy alive, to put him in a good position, whereas SMLZ, you don't need to invest many resources to keep him safe. He is an expert ADC about how he plays these fights.
Yeah. He's also got some of the highest damage to gold efficiency in these team fights as well.
Scout is very good at sustaining himself also, and Scout and Doinby between mid laners are just their own flavor, their own style hit. So it does come down very much so to these AD carries and what they're able to do. If you think back to the fight at Baron, iBoy was a bit mispositioned. He stepped up a little bit too close to the action and was taken down very promptly. Those things do happen in these games for EDG, and they do suffer the consequences occasionally because of that. Most of it happening when chaos breaks out.
You have to have a feeling that Edward Gaming fans probably a little bit nervous right now. Over the course of this split, over the course of probably the worst year that EDG have ever had in their career, it usually happened around this Baron pit, their inability to make hard calls and their weaknesses in team fighting specifically.
Uh-oh, Mako sends Killua over the wall, and Killua says, thanks, man, as they're already burning down the Baron. Half health remaining. Haro, he's got Flash Smite, level 14 to level 14.
Here comes Ray.
Mako's on the side, but Ray with the flank.
So risky.
Call of the Forge God, the engage under the back, but Baron picked up by Rogue Warriors. They're locked into the pit, though. Scout is ready to fire across. Bout standing in the front. SMLZ nowhere to go, but he's trying to get the damage hero's entrance, and he's still going to be alive, but they've got enough AoE. Scout finally getting in. Can they finish him off? SMLZ dies as Scout is doing the damage, but on the front line, iBoy, he's being defended right now. Mouse looking to finish off the kill, but already Rogue Warriors have lost so much, and 3 members have died.
And the ghost continues to haunt Edward Gaming around the Baron. They lose the objective, but Scout is their knight in shining armor. When Edward Gaming pop off this new 2018 squad, it's when that guy goes Super Saiyan.
And it's 30 seconds now with 2 members gone from Rogue Warriors, 20 on Killua. No Baron should be no problem for them. Doinby is going to try to wave clear, but they can't hold, so it will be an inhibitor gone. And that's Baron for inhibitor traded, and the team fight victory for EDG. Big win.
Already EDG find themselves in the gold lead. They have been running this entire series against Rogue Warriors, and finally they force them into a situation they want.
And such a risky call from Rogue Warriors. Now Flawless does manage to secure the smite, and everything looks disastrous for Edward Gaming at first, but Scout from the back of the pit, walking all the way around, cleans it up.
Yeah, SMLZ tries his little heart out, but with 3 tanks sitting on his face as well, impossible to get away from them when you're confined to the Baron pit. Flawless, he wants to disengage iBoy, he wants to get the damage dealer away, and then you're sleeping on Scout.
And with so much invested, both Mouse and Flawless trying to kill iBoy and not succeeding, whereas the remaining members of EDG doing the same to SMLZ. EDG come up big. Haro, he had one job, go in and look for the smite. Didn't succeed, he ended up dying. The only kill for Rogue Warriors, but look at Scout's damage.
And we have 1 minute and 45 seconds left on this Baron buff for Rogue Warriors. They've lost their mid lane inhibitor, which is the easiest one for them to hold, easiest one to defend. But it's also the shortest avenue of victory for EDG. So it really comes down to how these teams want to play from here. And I think with the Elder up in 1 minute, that may actually be the game-deciding thing.
I completely agree, especially when Edward Gaming are sitting on 4 elemental dragons. Now, they're starting to look for their team comp's mobility around the map to find these picks, but this should be one last chance for Rogue Warriors.
That's Call of the Forge God. The Void Seeker landed on an SMLZ, but iBoy decides not to take the Killer Instinct as blue buff is the fight. But more importantly, this is about positioning around that pit. 45 seconds on the clock. Mouse taking these hits.
Oh,
Killua goes in. That's the hero's entrance as Doinby joins the fight. Mako looking for a flank. SMLZ knocked out of the fight. iBoy going front to back, just doing big damage, but Doinby's in the front. Flash over the wall from iBoy. Doinby's at such low health, but iBoy's still firing. Chases it up. He's got the Killer Instinct and follows over. The Acathian Rain, it's the Rain of Death onto Rogue Warriors. His Scout gets a triple kill. The double-edged blade is swinging true for EDG.
And the ping's on my way to mid lane. They're immediately going to end this game now. The fight happens before the Elder can even spawn. EDG, they want to close it.
And we had questions about momentum. If Rogue Warriors lost here, a hyper-emotional team, Edward Gaming would be looking at match point. Can they come back?
All the way down the mid lane. Scout and Mako force Mouse to take the safe route back. No teleport, no chance, no respawn, no respite. Rogue Warriors fall down, and Edward Gaming, they prove that the dynasty is still strong. They take game 3.
A single game away for Edward Gaming to make another berth at Worlds. They've never missed the tournament.
The machine continues forwards. Rogue Warriors, we saw some serious signs of life in them though. Even from a deficit in this game, we know they can team fight. And we know full well that they have what it takes to get us to that game.